All right, well let's quickly take a look at these engineering posts that I had missed yesterday. They're from Torsten, of course. And this person asked a question. Initial build mentioned armor to make it in time for the first engineering tier 1 implementation. After it goes live, is the plan to implement armor by then or at a later stage? The same question for the fuse rework. Is the plan to update engineering ready ships from... Okay, so it's like, are all the ships going to be there? Hi, before I answer your question, I want to use the opportunity to thank all for all the videos, feedback, discussions around gameplay. It already helps us tremendously to improve this feature. Not as fast as I and probably you like, but it's important for us that we set a good base to build on. Okay. I cannot promise anything on armor. We're currently focusing on getting the flow right, means damage, fire, and repair is our main focus to get a nice mix of good gameplay and fulfilling the Star Citizen fantasy. So until we are happy enough, we won't add anything new to the mix. Reason is we really need to focus on as few things as possible to not water down the feedback. That doesn't necessarily mean rip armor, but I agree with him 100% here. Guys, when you go from 90% health on a component to 0% health on a component in half a second, regardless of whether or not you're standing still or not, I don't think that that's meeting the goals for engineering here. So armor does not mean component health. For all the people that have been saying that in the chat forever. So that's good news. There is, I got a bit of friction or kickback on saying when I've said that, like, hey, this snowballs too quickly, and people will be like, well, that's because armor's not in, or that's how they want it to be. And it's like, no, that's definitely not how they want it to be. All right, like, there's no way. Number two, thank you for asking. Since I saw some icy, let me clarify. Trying to do a TLDR version. Also, what you see here is what we want to go forward with. All right. Relay rework clarification. Relays are still the connectors of all ship components, but if you lose all the fuses inside items will not lose the connection anymore. The reason here is that some ships are just built in a way that the relay that connects all items or whatever too critical or too easy to target. I mean, they found that out right away with the C2, right? You aimed for the fuse near the cockpit and it shut the whole ship down. Like, you couldn't fly the ship anymore. You didn't have to take anything out. So they learned that in the initial test. Once all fuses are destroyed or depleted, the relay will go into a red state. The red state of the relay means that it will block some power. This means if you've lost a relay, by it not having any fuses anymore, the available power in the ship will drop. Depending on ship size and the amount of relays present, that can have a significant impact on your ship, so they are still an important factor to be taken care of. And then number three is, yes, patch by patch, they will add more ships. So it does sound like number three, even though that's a short one, it's kind of the most impactful one. Idris owners, your ship does not have engineering on it right now, so it will probably not have engineering on it initially. Or patch by patch means patch by patch in the tech preview. That's my hope. But there's a chance now, based on this, that it may go live without all the ships having engineering on them. And in the end, that doesn't necessarily matter, simply because, yeah. Shows how much they rush the Idris out? No, not necessarily. Just probably really represents how large the Idris is and how long it will take to do that. Plus, the Idris doesn't have any components that can be removed, replaced, things like that. So that gameplay is a little bit different, right? The really big ones make engineering a little scuffed because they don't really have physical components in the same way as everything else. Okay. Fuse stuff, though. The only feedback I can give around fuses is at the same time, while fuses are being destroyed, so are the other components. And it was very difficult because of the snowball effect of everything just dying all at the same time, that it was impossible to recognize it was impossible to recognize and get the time to recognize and diagnose what the problems are during combat and address them. It was just chaos. It just instantly turns into chaos. And I don't think the goal there for engineering is to have complete and utter chaos. I believe the goal for engineering is to have a problem and a need to fix that problem and the time to fix said problem, right? But if you don't deal with problem in it and quickly or efficiently, then it will snowball into chaos, right? Hey, there's a fire. If you don't put it out quickly, there will be fire, right? And it will spread to other components, and then a fuse will go out. And when the fuses go out, now you don't have enough power to power your coolers, and then the fire gets bigger. Like things like that. There's no cascading in engineering right now. It's your fuses go out, and because your fuses go out, you don't have enough power to power your coolers, and then fire, and it's just, it creates too much chaos. Like, I think we want chaos, but you don't want it to be too much. And I think that's kind of my experience there. All right. So this is the same post. And then Torsten also says, hi, let me be very honest here. It will not be fixed with the armor system getting in. Right now, there's a balancing discrepancy I still have to fix that should bring the TTK with components to a level that we want to see. Again, confirming whoever thought that this was a planned thing, the experience that you're having in the current game, you are completely wrong. Now, I will say this. It is incredibly frustrating that this is the main focus of this test, when the original test in Arena Commander, this was the main focus of it. And they did not address that components die and cascade too quickly. So when I am very disappointed in this engineering tech preview, this is why. Because we've already been through this and we're going through it again. And I don't understand why. And then he says, don't get me wrong, armor will affect this once it makes its way in. Of course it will, right? It will raise the TTK naturally. But we prepared it in a way that it should work without it, but it clearly does not yet. So yeah, there's some bug here. There's something like that. And what I mean by I'm frustrated is I feel like that they knew and that they gathered the feedback from that initial test and understood the problems that we have with it. And I don't know what is causing the issue to prevent it from being the learning that they got from the Arena Commander test, right? It's very clear that something is wrong and he doesn't like it. Don't know why, but it doesn't really matter why. The thing that frustrates me is that is the main focus of all of our feedback, when the main focus of all of our feedback should be on entirely different things, right? It should be on the change to fuses, and it should be on the new UI and how effective that is, and is it more readable? Do we like it? And so on and so forth. And because everything just fail cascades into fucking oblivion every time you get into a fight, it's fire, stuff like that, and it's way too much in the direction of we die too quickly. TTK, TTK, TTK. Right? And then at the end, he says, also to answer your concern, yes, TTK will change. The idea of engineering is to increase the lifetime of ships. All right. Another one. Realism Tech Preview spawn full. And that's a Highlander post, so that's something different that we'll address in just a second. So that's the engineering stuff. TTK, TTK, TTK. And it was supposed to be fire, other changes. Hey, how is the single-seater ship situation with engineering? How do you like that? And so on. And unfortunately, we are just talking about TTK. So hopefully they address that issue quickly. Then we hear about armor, and then we can get into fuses. And I don't think the engineering playtests are even worth discussing, looking at focusing on until they address that issue. So I hope they take it down for the time that they need. I think it got taken down yesterday, and they should not bring it up until they address this issue, because your feedback is just skewed in the TTK direction until the end of time.